Welcome to the Dose of Good podcast, where we celebrate good people and organizations working to make the world a better place. It can be easy to get caught up in the bad things going on in the world and forget about the good happening all around us each and every day. I'm your host, Erin, and I want to share these stories with you and give them the attention they deserve. I hope this podcast educates and inspires you and maybe even motivates you to share a dose of good in your community. Now let's get into today's episode. For today's episode, I'm speaking to Shana Brunier, who is the Administrative Director for Bring Back the Trades. Now, you might be saying, Erin, Bring Back the Trades, that sounds familiar, and that's because we just talked about it on the Rotary Club episode that was prior to this episode, and I was fortunate to be able to get Shana on for the next episode, the one you're hearing today, to talk more about Bring Back the Trades, all that they are doing to promote the trades, get young people involved in the trades, not only here locally in New Hampshire, but across the nation. So I hope that you will listen to this episode today, or if you're watching on YouTube, to learn more about Bringing Back the Trades, how they started, why they exist, all of the great work that they're doing, and maybe you yourself can look into them and get involved in a trade. Now let's get into it. Today I'm here with Shana Brunier, Administrative Director for Bring Back the Trades. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
So I've been hearing a lot of buzz, especially around Londonderry, about Bring Back the Trades in your organization. So what is Bring Back the Trades and how did it get started?
Sure, absolutely. So we're actually a nonprofit nationally, but we're located out of Rye, New Hampshire. So we do a lot of things locally in New Hampshire and in the surrounding states. We are an advocacy group that looks to reduce the stigma around going into the trades, help promote the opportunities in the trades, and we give away scholarships in the trades. And we actually started back in 2017 with the founder who woke up one day and said, I want a hat that says Bring Back the Trades. He has an upholstery shop, does really high-end upholstery for vintage vehicles, boats, etc. And he put it on a hat. And he's an ultra marathoner, and he was running, and people kept saying, where did you get that hat? I want that hat. Because a lot of people were having trouble finding people in the trades. So he started making hats for people who asked for them and putting different tools on the hats, just an illustration to represent the trades. And all of a sudden, he's got a hat business. And somebody said to him, what are you doing with all this money and that you're getting from the hat sales? And he said, I don't know. And he said, why don't you start a scholarship fund? And the nonprofit Bring Back the Trades was started in 2019.
Oh, wow. That's a great way that kind of all came about.
Accidental nonprofit is what I call it sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And since you mentioned it, because that's one thing I was going to ask, so this is not just exclusive to New Hampshire. This is an organization that is available to nationwide.
Absolutely. So we're a national nonprofit. We give away scholarships on a national level. And, of course, take donations on a national level. But our events to date have just been in New Hampshire, and we're actually going to Vermont this spring and then also down to Gillette Stadium this fall.
That's so exciting.
Yes, thanks to FW Web, who's our title sponsor for the 3 events. So, yeah, we're very excited.
Oh, awesome. And I was also going to ask about the scholarships. So that's great that they're available to anyone around the country. How do they apply for them, and how do you kind of decide who earns the scholarships?
Sure. So we do at least one $1,500 scholarship each month throughout the school year. And people can apply through our website. If they just go to the scholarship section, there's a scholarship application. They can apply right online. They can write either a simple essay or upload a quick video just telling us why they want the scholarship. Mm-hmm. And then we choose one each month with a small group of our board members. And then we make sure that the student is enrolled in a CTE program because we do pay the school directly, not the student.
Okay. All right. And how did you become involved with this organization?
So I actually have worked for a few different companies that have had people in the trades working at it. So actually, I started off in the newspaper industry. So we had the press team, the people working in the press. And then I worked at an energy company. So you have the terminal operators and the drivers. And then I worked at a water treatment company, and we had technicians. And so I've always been involved some way or another in the trades, kind of on the side, not directly doing the work myself in terms of, the trade, but supporting the people. And I've always had a lot of respect for people in the trades. And so I reached out to Steve, the founder of Bring Back the Trades, when I was at the water treatment company because I wanted to help the technicians earn their plumbing license. And so I wanted to learn more. Ended up volunteering for him some. And then when I left the water treatment company, I offered to work for him a bit more on a volunteer basis when he had his big event up at the New Hampshire Technical Institute and had Mike Rowe coming.
Okay.
Ended up spending a lot of hours working on that event with Grapponi and Procon. And after the event, Bring Back the Trades just really took off. And he said, "Hey, do you want to come work for me full time?"
Oh, that's great.
And I said, "Sure."
Oh,
Absolutely. Nice. So, yeah, the rest is history, as they say. So it's been really fun. We're organizing an event. Just this morning, we were over at Londonderry High School talking to the Rotary and the high school and the police department about how we can get the event for next month in April to be a fantastic event. So we're really excited about that. And then in May, we're up in Vermont. And like I mentioned, in the fall, we'll be at Gillette Stadium.
That's great. So I was also going to ask you about the event here in Londonderry. So this episode will come out April 1st, and I know your event is at the end of April at Londonderry. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's going to be happening at that event, what people can expect, who should attend, all of that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So we do what's called a skills expo because we want to have people from the trades come in and share their experience. What's it like to go into the trades? How do you get into different trades? Because, it's a little bit like back in the day when you had the first generation of college students. It's like people don't know how to navigate it, right?
Sure,
you don't know how to navigate college. Well, people don't know how to navigate the trades. So we like to have people be able to walk around and introduce themselves to people in various trades and learn from plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians. We have a pool and sauna company coming for, they have service technicians. We have construction, general laborers, a lot of different trades coming to Londonderry and a lot of them are hiring, which is also great, right? So students can come in and talk to people and learn about the trades and then also potentially apply for jobs. We also encourage the companies to bring in equipment if they have it. I like to call it touch a truck for adults. The trades have that unique advantage of having something that's like tangible and, people love big trucks and equipment and stuff. So we're trying to get a lot of that brought out to the parking lot so people can check that out as well. Because I think one of the advantages of the trades is that you have that like finished product in front of you at the end of the day. And I think there's a lot of pride in the work that's done in the trades. And so to be able to showcase some of that work is really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope it'll be a really successful event for you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. We already have a lot of momentum going for it. Sounds like we're going to get some Red Sox tickets to give away.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yes, breaking news. You heard it here first. So we're really excited about that. And we're going to have a prize wheel and we'll have some hats and other good fun stuff to give away. So.
Oh, nice. And if people want to learn more, they can just go to your website.
Yes,
okay.
Yep. The easiest way to get there is bbtt.org. They can also type out bringbackthetrades.org if they want to, and then click on upcoming events, and then click on Londonderry, and they can see all the details for the upcoming event, including if they want to be a vendor.
One thing I did want to ask you about is why you think it is that less people are entering trades these days.
Sure. So I think that for quite a while, there was a stigma attached to going into the trades. It was kind of like a consolation prize, or you couldn't get into college. And what we're trying to do is help educate people that that's not the case. If you're smart and you go into the trades, you can be extremely successful. And it's also a great avenue for entrepreneurs, right? If you want to own your own business, you get a license of any kind, get certifications, you have a lot of opportunities to go out on your own eventually if that's what you desire to do. So we've actually have been talking to a lot of people because there's what they're calling the silver tsunami.
Okay.
Where a lot of people are retiring in the trades in the next 5 years.
Oh.
So for every 5 tradesperson who's retiring, there are only 2 coming into the trades. Obviously, that's not a good statistic.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough people.
No. If we think it's hard to find a plumber or electrician now or construction help now, it's going to be that much worse. So we're trying to do a lot to educate students and also really the parents, because the parents have had it grilled into their minds that you have to go to college to be successful. And that's not the only path to success. And that's what we're trying to communicate to people. It's not that college is a bad option, because we need college for a lot of different professions, right? But there are also a lot of professions out there, a lot of open opportunities where you don't need to have that college degree, or you can get it later. A lot of companies will help pay for that later, and that's, wonderful. So
yeah, I think that's great to tell people about, because to encourage them to maybe get the training through the trade hands-on. Then if they need schooling, they can go to that later. But there's not a one-size-fits-all option of how to go about things. So.
Yeah, and some people are not ready for college or don't want to study from a book. I mean, the trades, you have to learn a lot to be in the trades.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This is not like all of a sudden you're just going and doing a job. You think about the autos that were being serviced 10 years ago versus today. Those auto technicians have to do a lot of recurring training.
Yeah, especially with all the computers they're putting in there now.
Exactly. There's so much technology involved in the trades. And that's, there's like a excavator that you can operate on an iPad now. I mean, there's so much cool technology in the trade. So if you're fascinated by video games or technology, I mean, the trades are a wonderful place to explore opportunities.
Yeah. So expanding on that a little bit, what would, like if you were talking to a student, what would you tell them are some of the benefits of entering a trade?
Sure. So one of the biggest benefits is that you're getting paid while you're learning, right? So even if you're only getting paid $18 an hour, which might not be much more than you can earn at a retail or other type job, you are being paid to learn because you're getting on-the-job training. And often these employers want to invest in you so you become licensed or, become a journeyman for electrical or for plumbing. And then eventually then you are going to be making more money, and then you won't have that debt at the end of your journey because you're just continuing to educate yourself while you're also making a paycheck.
Yeah. And how have you, so you've been around, the organization's been around since 2017. So have you found through your, I guess, education and are you finding more students going into trades, being interested in it and everything?
Yeah. So what's actually really exciting is there's a lot of momentum right now because people are talking about the silver tsunami. And also the next generation is a lot more open to the trades because they see what's happening with people and they're coming out with educational debt, right? Yeah. If you are going to be somebody who's going to come out with a lot of educational debt, you may want to consider, is that the best path for me?
Yeah.
Should I get a job right out of school and get training on the job and then go back later, or just maybe you don't even need it depending on what you are most interested in. So that new generation is a lot more interested in it, and it sounds like the trade schools are actually getting a lot more interest now, which is great. So we're kind of finally seeing that tipping point where there's a lot more interest and respect for the trades because we desperately need tradespeople, right?
Yeah, that's great. And I think I saw something, I don't know if it was through your site but you can make a good living in a trade.
Oh, so. Yes. I mean, some of them now are making 6 figures easily because there's just such a demand for it. And we're actually working with FW Web also on a research project. So they are sponsoring us to do research where we're learning more about what that gap deficit is so we can understand, okay, how many people really are retiring within each industry of the trade and how many are coming in so we can see where are the real problem areas.
Okay.
So then we can help educate students coming in like, hey, this is where we're seeing a really big opportunity if you have interest in this trade.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And I should probably mention that we just launched a new website.
Oh, great.
With the help of Milwaukee Tool. So we're
Oh,
super
that's
excited about that.
exciting.
Yes. They have been really helpful in helping us just make a website that wasn't that functional or great into something that's really robust with lots of
nice.
information, lots of resources. We're going to continue to build it out. There's information about various trades on there, and we're going to be linking out to other associations within each industry so then they can find job opportunities. So lots of great things down the runway on that. So we're pretty excited about the
That is
relationship.
great. Yeah. And you already mentioned your other events in Vermont and Gillette. Is there anything else coming up that you want to let people know about, or are those kind of the big ones?
Those are the big ones. So,
Okay.
yeah, the Vermont one is at Castleton, Vermont State University at Castleton, and we're working with the Rutland Regional Chamber of Commerce up there for that one. And we have some great sponsors up there too, are bringing lots of equipment. So if you really like to see cool equipment, might be one worth the drive up to that area if you're up there in the northern part of the state. And then at Gillette Stadium, we're going to have some guest speakers. We've already got Demi Knight Clark secured. That's going to be announced very soon. And then we're also talking to a couple of others, and we'll have sports tickets to give away at that. We're also talking to an auto manufacturer and hoping to have a vehicle to give away.
Cool.
We'll see about that. So lots of good things in the pipeline that we're trying to make happen. So
very exciting.
Definitely keep an eye out for that one.
I have two final questions I like to ask everybody that's been on the show, but is there anything else you would like people to know about Bring Back the Trades?
No, just thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about Bring Back the Trades. I think that if people are aware of the trades need and opportunities and help spread the word and, talk with pride when they talk about people and their family who work in the trades. It's not, oh, well, they're just a plumber. It's like, no, they're a plumber. I mean, plumbers are needed. Plumbers are a very important part of our society. So I think having respect for people in the trades is huge.
Definitely.
And appreciated.
And
of course, we're a nonprofit, so if people want to donate money or help with their scholarship program, we're always...
Yes, I should have. So, because it sounds like you get sponsorships, but do you do fundraising, or individuals can donate? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So people either can donate directly through our website, or sometimes people will just send us a check, which is obviously greatly appreciated. We have great sponsors for our events, and that's where we do most of our fundraising. So like FW Web coming on as a title sponsor has been huge for us. We have Optiline came on our already for our Gillette event too. So when people come in and support our events, that really helps us secure our funding for those scholarships. And then we also have Heritage Credit Union is giving us extra dollars to give away directly to scholarships. So we've just been really, really fortunate to have so much support in the community.
That's awesome. So the last two questions are kind of related to the idea of this podcast of promoting the good that's going on in the world and having that be talked about more, because we hear so much negativity and everything. And the first thing I like to ask people is who you think I should have next, whether that be an individual who does amazing things in their community or another nonprofit.
Oh, gosh, on the spot.
It's okay. You can take a minute to think about it if need be.
Gosh. There's so many wonderful programs out there and opportunities. Trying to think of a person who comes to mind. I'm blanking right now, of course, though.
That's okay. No worries. Is there maybe an organization that you've collaborated with or just heard about that you think would be of interest to people?
So there's so many, I know that you've talked recently with the Rotary, and I've just been really impressed with the work that they're doing. We went and talked to the Portsmouth Rotary recently as well, and they're doing a lot of great things too. Gosh, I feel like there's so many that I should be able to name immediately, but my
Don't worry.
mind went completely blank.
Don't worry
I
about it.
will
I
have
totally
ideas for you, I
understand.
promise.
All
Oh my
right.
gosh, I'm so embarrassed that I can't think of
Oh
somebody off the
no,
top
it's
of my
totally
head.
fine. That's always the way, right? Like any other time, you'd think of it on the drop of a hat, but because I asked you, you're like,
Right?
oh gosh, where did that go? So
Yes.
no worries at all.
This is a question I should have prepped for.
No, you're fine. And then the last thing is also a difficult one, but just in the effort of promoting kindness, I usually ask people like, what is the kindest thing you've either witnessed or been a part of? And it could just be like a story or whatever comes to mind for you.
Yeah, so I think when I think of kindness, I think of the things that I look back on my career so far, and I've got over 20 years in management, and I've run a lot of projects, implemented a lot of systems, and done a lot of cool things. But when I think about the things that I'm most proud of, it's mentoring others. And I think that when people take the time to mentor others, it's really kind, right? Because you can see the impact that you make on their lives. And I think of the people who have done me that kindness, and I'm so grateful. And so I'm trying to, pay it back, if you will. And I
Yeah.
try to encourage other people to do that and help let people know when they're natural leaders and they may not even realize it, how many people are looking up to them and watching their journey and respecting the work that they're doing, because it matters.
Yeah.
People really do look up to other people and watch what's happening and see what they can learn from it and how they can do better.
Yeah.
So I think, what is the phrase? It's like, as you move yourself up, turn around and help the next person in line. And
Oh,
I think
I like
that's,
that.
I think that's really
great.
important to make sure that we're lifting each other up. And so I think it's great
Yes.
that you're doing this podcast.
Oh,
and
well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and thank
sharing the
you
good.
for being a mentor. And I know that is needed. And just in my brief experience, I worked with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I think you as the mentor get as much as the mentee giving back to you.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm one of 7 kids, and as the second oldest, it's like you really see how much the younger siblings look up to you. And I think that's where I learned the impact that you're having, even if you're not trying to have that impact.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when I left a company that I was at for almost 10 years, I had some of the women reach out to me just thanking me for the impact that I made in a male-dominated industry that I had no idea were watching what I was doing.
Wow.
And it just reminds you people are watching and people are looking up to you even if you don't realize it. So your actions matter.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. And I hope a lot of people will attend the event in Londonderry as well as the others.
Yes,
So.
yes. Thank you so much. Yes, we look forward to a great event and hope to see everybody on April 26th, Saturday from 9 to 1 at the Londonderry High School at the
Sounds
gym.
great.
Yeah, excited.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode about Bring Back the Trades. Thank you so much to Shana for being on the episode with me and for all the great work that you are doing. If you are local, I hope that you will check out one of their expos, whether that be here in Londonderry, Vermont, or at Gillette Stadium. And please consider sharing this episode so more people can learn about Bring Back the Trades and how needed tradespeople are. If you aren't already, be sure to follow Dose of Good Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube as well as where you listen to podcasts, whether that be Spotify or Apple. Leave a review and rating and let people know about the podcast so they can get their dose of good for the day. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and I will see you soon.